going to discuss about database users. So what is basically database user and what is the objective of learning database users? So the objective will be how database will be used by the users basically, and outcome will be like how to manage the database effectively. Like if I am supposed to require some kind of data, or I am supposed to fetch some kind of data instantly, will the database be able to provide the same? So that is my main point about today's lecture, and in that manner you will learn how to handle database effectively in the end, with the help of various data users who are handling the database. So let's discuss about what is basically database users. There are various types of database users that are there. So users are differentiated by the way they expect to interact with the system. So they could be application programmers, they could be sophisticated users, they could be specialized users, and they could be naive users. So application programmers interact with the system through DML calls, like data manipulation language calls. In addition, sophisticated users that are that are concerned with the requests in the database query language, and they generally proceed with the requests only. Specialized users that are meant for handling special things, or I can say specific purpose for the database. Like they could be using the specialized database applications that do not fit into the traditional database processing framework. Next is naive users, that is invoke one of the permanent application programs that have been written previously. For example, people access database over the web, bank tellers, and clerical staff. So there are various types of database users that are available. So let's discuss about the same. So what are basically types of the data users? So there are various types of database users in DBMS, as we already know. So there are two types of basically users. One is the user who is using the system, and second is administrator who is controlling all the operations behind the system that we are going to use. So in case you are interested in SQL interview questions, or if you are dealing with SQL questions for your examinations, then you are supposed to deal with database users. Now, what are basically database users? Database users are basically the one who really use and take the benefits of the database. So there will be different types of users depending on their needs and way of accessing the database. It could be application programmers, like they are the developers who interact with the database by means of DML queries. Like DML queries are written in application programs like C, C++, Java, Pascal, etc. So these queries are converted into object code to communicate with the database. For example, writing a C program to generate the report of employees who are working in a particular department, that will involve a query to fetch the data from the database. So it will include an embedded SQL query in the C program. Next is sophisticated users. So they are database developers who write SQL queries to select, insert, delete, update the data. So they do not use any application or programs to request the database. They directly interact with the database by means of the query language. It could be like SQL, MS Access, or it could be any other software that we are going to use. So these users could be kind of like scientists, engineers, analysts who thoroughly study SQL and DBMS to apply the concepts in their requirements. In short, we can say this category includes designers and developers of DBMS and SQL. Next is specialized users. So these are also sophisticated users, but they write special database application programs, and they are the developers who develop the complex programs to the requirements. Standalone users. So these users will have a standalone database for their personal use. So these kinds of database will have ready-made database packages which will have menus and graphical interfaces. Next is native users or naive users. These are the users who use existing applications to interact with the database. For example, online library system, ticket booking system, ATMs. So they are having like they are operating the system regularly. So they know how to use the particular system which has existing applications, and users use them to interact with the database to fulfill their request. if I am talking about DBA, what is the role of DBA here? What is DBA actually? DBA, who is administrator? What is the role of database administrator? So the life cycle of database starts from designing, implementing to the administration of it. So a database for any kind of requirement, it needs to be designed perfectly so that it should work without any issues. Once all the design is complete, it needs to be installed, and once this step is complete, users start using the database. Now, if I am talking about database, I'm continually talking about database. What is basically a database? How we are supposed to apply database operations? How we are supposed to classify users of the database? So the database is a organized collection of the data that is stored and accessed electronically from a computer system. Where databases are more complex, they are often developed using formal design and modeling techniques. So the database management system is the software that interact with the end users, applications, and database itself to capture and analyze the data. So the DBMS software additionally encompasses the core facilities provided to the administer the database. So the sum total of the database, the DBMS and the associated applications can be referred to as the database system. Often the term database is also used to loosely refer to any of the DBMS. So the database system or an application associated with the database. So computer scientists may classify database management system according to the database models that they support. So relational databases became dominant in the 1980s. These models data as rows and columns in the series of table, and the vast majority use SQL for writing and querying data. In the 2000s, non-relational database become popular, and it is referred to as NoSQL because they use different SQL query languages. So what are the various terms that we have used that could provide various functions in the database? Data definition, update, retrieval, administration. So what is data definition? That is the creation, modification, and removal of definition that define the organization of the data. Next is update. Update is concerned with insertion, modification, and deletion of the actual data. Next is retrieval, providing information in a form directly usable or for further processing by other applications. So they retrieve data that may be made available in a form basically the same as it is stored in the database or in the new form obtained by altering or combining existing data from the database. Next is administration, registering and monitoring users, enforcing data security, monitoring performance, maintaining data integrity, dealing with concurrency control, and recovering information that has been corrupted by some event such as unexpected system failure. So both a database and its DBMS conform to the principles of the particular database model, and database system refers collectively to the database model and database management system and database. So physically, database servers are dedicated computers that hold the actual databases and run only the DBMS and the related software. So database servers are usually multi-processor computers with generous memory and RAID disk array used for stable storage. So hardware database accelerators connected to one or more servers via high-speed channel. They are also used in large volume transaction processing environment. How? So DBMS users are found at the heart of most database systems. So they may be built around a custom multitasking kernel with built-in networking support. But now new DBMS typically rely on standard operating system to provide these functions. So database and DBMS systems can be categorized according to the database model that they support and type that or the computer they run on, the query language used to access the database, and their internal engineering, which affects performance, scalability, resilience, and security. So this is about database. Now we are supposed to deal with database administration. So what is basically database administration? So it is the life cycle of database that starts from designing, implementing, to the administration of it. So a database for any kind of requirements needs to be designed perfectly so that it should work without any issues. Once all the design is complete, it needs to be installed. And once this step is complete, users start using the database. The database grows as the data grows in the database. When the database becomes huge, its performance comes down. Also, accessing the database or from the database becomes a challenge. So there will be unused memory in the database, making the memory inevitably huge. So this administration and maintenance of the database are taken care of by database administrator, and DBA has many responsibilities. For example, like a good performing database is in the hands of DBA. So there are certain concerns that are regarding have a concern regarding DBA, like installing and upgrading the DBMS service. So what could be the case that we are supposed to discuss? So, like as the name implies, installing and upgrading the DBMS server. So, what is the same? DBA is responsible for installing new DBMS server for the new projects. So, he is also responsible for upgrading these servers as there are new versions that come into the market or requirement. If there is any failure in the upgradation of the existing server, he should be able to revert the new changes back to the older version, thus maintaining the DBMS working. He is also responsible for updating the service pack or fixes patches to the DBMS server. Next is design and implementation. Designing the database and implementing is also DBA's responsibility. He should be able to decide on proper memory management, file organization, error handling, log maintenance for the database. In addition, we are dealing with performance tuning. So, what is basically performance tuning? So, since the database is huge and it will have a lots of tables, so data, constraints, indices, there will be variations in the performance from time to time. So also because of some designing issues or data growth, the database will not work as expected. So it is the responsibility of the DBA to tune the database performance. So he is responsible to make sure that all the queries and programs work in the fraction of the seconds. So next is migrate database server. As the name implies, we are supposed to migrate the database server. So what is the case behind the same? Like sometimes user using the Oracle would like to shift to SQL Server, or like it is a responsibility of the DBA to make sure that migration happens without any failure and there is no loss of the data. Next is backup and recovery. Proper backup and recovery programs needs to be developed by DBA and has to be maintained then. So this is one of the main responsibilities of DBA. Data objects should be backed up regularly so that if there is any crash, it should be recovered without much effort and data loss. Next is security. DBA is responsible for creating various database users and roles and giving them different levels of access rights. Next is documentation. DBA should be properly documenting all his activities so that if he quits or any new DBA comes in, he should be able to understand the database without any effort. So he should basically maintain all his installation, backup, recovery, security methods, and he should keep various reports about database performance. Now, in order to perform his entire task, he should have very good commands over the DBMS. Next is various types of DBA. Again, various types of DBA. So there are various types of DBA that is depending on the responsibility that he owns. Like it could be administrative DBA, development DBA, database architecture, data warehouse DBA, application DBA, OLAP DBA. So there are certain types of DBA. We will discuss one by one all of the DBAs. If I am talking about administrative DBA, so what is the role of administrative DBA? This DBA is mainly concerned with installing and maintaining DBMS server, and his main task is installing backup, recovery, security, replications, memory management, configurations, and tuning. So he is mainly responsible for all administrative tasks of the database. Next is development DBA. So he is responsible for creating queries and procedures for the requirements. So basically his task is similar to any database developer. Next is database architecture. Database architecture is responsible for creating and maintaining the users, roles, access rights, tables, views, constraints, and indexes. So he is mainly responsible for designing the structure of the database depending on the requirement. So these structures will be used by the developers and development DBA to code. Next is data warehouse DBA. So DBA should be able to maintain the data and procedures from various sources in the data warehouse. So these sources can be a file, COBOL, or any other programs. So here data and programs will be from different sources. So a good DBA should be able to keep the performance and function levels from these sources at some pace to make the data warehouse work. Next is application DBA. So he acts like a bridge between the application program and the database. So he makes sure that all the application program is optimized to interact with the database, and he ensure all the activities from installing, upgrading, patching, maintaining, backup, recovery to executing the records, and it could work without any issues. Next is OLAP DABA. He is responsible for installing and maintaining the database in OLAP system. So he maintains the OLAP databases. So this is all about DBA, like types of DBA only. So if you are having any query, you can ask me. I am giving you a time of 1 minute. Like, and the question is, which users interact with the system by forming their requests in the database query language? That is sophisticated user. So I am giving you a time of 1 minute. If you are having any question, you can ask me any question. Now there is a certain role that is associated with DBA. It could coordinate all the activities of the DBA system. That is, it could have a good understanding of the organization, information, resources, and needs. In addition, database administrator duties include storage structure, access method definition. It is concerned with schema, physical organization modification, granting user authority to access the database. Next is backing up data. Next is monitoring performance and responding to changes. In addition, it is concerned with database tuning that we have discussed recently. Next is data storage and query. So it is concerned with storage management, query processing, and transaction processing. So what is storage management? Like, I am dealing with database. How to store the database? How to store various data inside the database? There are certain procedures that we are supposed to follow behind the scene. Now, those certain procedures could be related to manipulation, could be how we are going to store the database. There could be a well-defined structure for the same, or I can say schema that is concerned with physical organization of the data or physical structure of the data. How data is going to be stored in the database? What would be the structure behind the same? So how, like, storage is also concerned with the data types, like what would be the data types that I am going to store, what would be the size of the data type that I am going to store. So all the if and buts of the data that could be stored in the management, that could be handled by the management, and storage management is behind the same, all the activities that are behind the same. So storage management is basically concerned with how the structure is built, how we are going to store the data, what type of data will be stored in what, and what type of data types could be used, and what could be the size of the data that we are going to store. So this all covers the storage management procedure. Basically, we are supposed to fetch the data from the database. So it is already stored somewhere. So that is why there could be some storing medium behind the same from which we want to fetch the data. So this is the storage management that is working behind the same. Next is query processing. Now, as the name implies, query process. Query process, like we are supposed to deal with various queries in database, and if in order to proceed with the query, we are supposed to process the same. Like there could be processing techniques. Like if I want to fetch the record of the student, how we are supposed to fetch the record of the student? What is the process? Like I am supposed to write a query, and before writing a query, I should be aware that this database is available, and these types of attributes could be available in that type of database, so that while I am writing any query, I should be clear that what I am going to fetch, what type of data is available, so that I can fetch, write a query according to the same. So that could be the question that is related to the query processing, how we are supposed to deal with the query processing, what time it will take to respond to a query, what is the performance of the same, what is the efficiency of the same. Next is transaction processing. Transaction processing means to say how we are supposed to deal with the transaction. Like if I am performing any banking transaction, what are the certain steps that are related to the same? Let's say if I am supposed to transfer money from account number A to account number B, then there could be certain processes, or I can say there could be certain processes or steps that could be concerned with the same. So first is I am supposed to maintain two accounts A and B, and there could be certain amount that I am going to insert or that I am going to delete. So that could be the case. In addition, there could be some updations that could be required. If I am adding some kind of amount to the B database, then I am supposed to work with the update operation, because if it is updated or not. If I am going to delete some amount of money, then I am also concerned with the update operations as well. So in this way, the transaction processing proceeds. So we are dealing with the each and every process one by one in detail. So what is basically storage management? A storage manager is a program or a module that provides the interface between the low-level data stored in the database and the application programs and queries submitted to the system. And the application queries submitted to the system. A storage manager is responsible to the following tasks, like how to interact with the file manager, who is managing the file. Storage manager is concerned with how to store the data. File manager is concerned with how to handle the files efficiently. Next is there could be efficient storing, there could be retrieval process, there could be updation process that could be associated with that file. But storage manager is concerned with how to store that file in an appropriate manner. So there could be certain issues that could be dealt with, like storage access, how to access the file that is already stored in the database, how to organize the files, like if they are files that are randomly arranged, then we are supposed to deal with the problems. Like if I want to fetch any data instantly, then it could not be possible for me to retrieve that data instantly if I don't know that the file is organized. Files are organized, because search or time will be more and processing time in addition could be more, because both goes hand in hand. Next is indexing and hashing. So indexing and hashing is like we are supposed to create an index. From that, we would be able to know that which file is stored on which rack, or which type of file is available on what type of medium. So that in that manner we will be able to fetch the reports as and when required. So next is query processing. Next is query processing. So what is basically query processing? It is concerned with parsing, translation, optimization, and evaluation. So what is basically parsing and translation? You know what is basically parsing and translation? Parsing means to say we are dealing with the syntactic analysis. Syntactic analysis in turn meaning that whatever the question is said in the query, or whatever the query is being made, we are supposed to deal with its syntax. Like I am going to give you an example. Select star from customers. Select star from customer. What is the syntactic analysis behind the scene? Now, what is select? Select is the command which is going to select all the attributes in the database. So, this is the syntactic analysis. What is the meaning of star? Star being to say it could be applied on all the attributes that are present in that particular database. From, where from, like from which file you want to access data. So that is used as a from. Customer table or any table. So table name could be there. So select star from customer. Select star from table name. It could be customer, it could be any table. It could be employee. So these are the syntaxes that I am dealing with. Now after dealing with the syntaxes, I am supposed to deal with the parsing. Now parsing is of two types, top-down parsing and bottom-up parsing. Top-down parsing means to say we are drawing a tree from top to bottom. We are drawing a tree from top to bottom. Like what would be the major concerns that are supposed to be dealt with in the query. Next, after that there could be low level, again there could be a lower level. And bottom up mean to say we are starting from the bottom and reaching towards the root. So these are two types of parsing techniques that we are going to use. Next is translation. What is the translator here? That is used to convert source language into the object language. So that is why we are using the translator here. Next is optimization. Optimization, as the name implies, we are supposed to optimize the code that we are going to use. Now, optimize, as the name implies, optimization. Optimization means to say after retrieving the query, if it is if it is understood by the uh, client whom I am going to fetch the same or not. If it is not, then I am supposed to optimize it. I am supposed to convert it into the language that could be understandable by the client. I am supposed to optimize it. Next, after optimization, there could be a third step, that is evaluation. So we are supposed to deal with the evaluation. Like whatever the query has been created, after the output is received, we are after the execution, there could be evaluation engine that is evaluating the data, that is evaluating the procedures, that is evaluating the processes, and in the end it is supposed to direct it toward output. So these are the three steps that we are going to follow while we are dealing with the query processing. So have a look at all the procedures, and I will explain you it in this picture that is given here. So here we are having a look at the optimization or query processing. So what is basically query processing? Have a look at the diagram. So first we are supposed to make a query. Select start from customer. There is a parser, there is a translator who is parsing the things that are being asked in the query, and who is translating the things that is being asked in the query. So next is where various relational algebra expression could be used. It could be various relational algebras like start from employee, where condition is this, where condition is this, and in their condition we are supposed to deal with and or not operator. In addition, we are supposed to deal with ascending order, descending order. There are so many operations that we are supposed to deal with here. So these could be relational algebra expressions that could be applied on the tuple, and that could be applied on the column. So next we are supposed to optimize the same. So what is the meaning of the optimization? That is to make the best possible use of the resources that are available here, so that it could be understood by the execution plan, to make the best use of the resources that are available to us. So next is after optimization, we are dealing with the next optimization is also collecting statistics about the data. So that is why it could make the optimized use of the resources. So it is also dealing with the statistics about the data, various mathematical operations or various statistics of the data that we are going to use uh, in addition to the relational expressions. So we are supposed to optimize the both, and after optimizing the both, we are supposed to deal with the execution plan. Now we are supposed to execute our query in the execution plan, and after executing the plan, we are supposed to deal with the evaluation engine to whom the data is fed. So it could evaluate data on various factors. It could be uh, what type of storage, or what type of management, or what type of administration. So it could evaluate the data, so that in the end it could produce the output of the query. So this is whole process of the query, and in that manner we are supposed to deal with the query processing. So there are three steps that are major: parsing and translation, optimization, next is evaluation. So if you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me. So this is the query processing that is explained in these steps. So this is the alternative way of evaluating a given query. So it is based on two steps: equivalent expressions. As I told you, a translator parser is used. That is why we are supposed to convert it into equivalent expressions. Next is different algorithms for each operation. How we are supposed to deal with different algorithms. That could be done in the step of parser and translator. We are supposed to convert it into the algorithms that could be used. We are supposed to convert it into various operations that could be used. Next is cost difference between a good and a bad way of evaluating a query can be enormous. So, like we have already fixed evaluator in between. So that could evaluate the performances of the query, that could evaluate the effects, after effects of the execution plan. So what could be those? So that is why we are using the evaluative measure. So in the end, it could be enormous data that could be there that is to be evaluated. So we are supposed to uh, provide a difference between good and bad way of evaluating a query, and it could cost huge, because if the data is more, then it could require more cost. Then is need to estimate the cost of operations. We are dealing with statistical things here, so we are supposed to estimate the cost of operations. So what are the various factors that we are supposed to consider that when we are dealing with the cost estimation operations? So first one is it depends on the criticality of the information about relations which the database must maintain. How critical is the database information? How critical is the relationships that are to be maintained? How critical is the query that is to be dealt with? So these are the certain points that are supposed to be dealt with when we are supposed to estimate the cost of various operations that we are supposed to undergo when we are dealing with the query processing terms. Next is need to estimate statistics for intermediate results to compute cost of complex operations. So we are supposed to estimate the statistics of intermediate results, and that could also have a concern with the cost calculation for the complex operations. The third process is transaction management. So, what is basically a transaction? As the name implies, it could be a collection of operations that performs a single logical function in the database application. There could be certain operations that could be associated with a transaction, but it could perform only one logical function in the database. So what could be the same? That is transaction management component and concurrency control manager. So what is transaction management component here? Transaction management component could ensures that the database remains in the consistent state despite the system failures. And system failures could be like power failures or operating system crashes and transaction failures. But the database could be in the consistent state. Like if the database is consistent before the execution of the transaction, then it could be consistent after the execution of the transaction. And there could be certain points that are supposed to be dealt with when we are dealing with a banking transaction. Like if I am supposed to transfer money from account number A to account number B, then I am supposed to deal with certain steps. So what could be those steps? Like I could be transmitting some amount of some kind of amount, like some amount from A account could be deducted and some amount in the account B could be added, and in between there could be updation operations that could be there, because if I am deducting some amount of money from account A, then those updations could be reflected, because otherwise if it is saying the same account balance, then it could lead to the inconsistency of the data. And same is the case with the B account. If I am adding some type of amount in the account B from account A, then it could reflect those changes in the database, because if initially it was 1000 rupees in the account number B, and after transfer of the rupees 500 from account number A, it could be reflected with the help of 1500 instead of 1000. So these updations could be reflected in the transaction after the transaction is performed. So that is why we are supposed to deal with the consistent term here. If the database is consistent, like if in between, after I am in the middle of the transaction, and there occur some kind of failure, and that could lead to the inconsistency of the database. But that could not be the case if I am dealing with the management component as well, because there is some management, there is some component that is dealing with the failures as well. So that is why it is not leading the database into the inconsistent state. So that is why what is basically data transaction management component here, it could ensures that the database remains in the consistent state despite system failures. For example, power failures, operating system crashes, and transaction failures. Next is concurrency control manager. So what is basically concurrency control manager? That is, it could control the interaction among the concurrent transactions, because many transactions are performing on the single system. So how to control the transactions to ensure the consistency of the database, that could be the responsibility of the control manager here. So that concurrent operations that we are dealing with the database, it could not result into the ineffective output, or it could not lead to the inconsistent database in the end. So that is why we are supposed to deal with the manager here, that is the control manager. Next is database architecture. So what is basically database architecture? The architecture of a database system is greatly influenced by the underlying computer system on which the database is running. So it could be centralized database system, it could be based on the client server database system, it could be based on the parallel database system, or it could be based on the distributed database management system. So what could be the database system that we are going to undertake? Each system could be explained in detail in the next class, like what is centralized database system, what is client server database system, what is parallel distributed system. As the name implies, multiple processors and disks are there, and we are supposed to handle the same. Next is distributed parallel system. So like, let me tell you in brief about all the systems that we are going to discuss in detail in the next lecture. Centralized database system, at it is its name is centralized, like centralized control is available like DBA in each organization. If one is using centralized database system, if one is using client server database system, or parallel or distributed, that depends on the organization to organization, what type of database architecture that they are using. So if they are using centralized database system, then everything in the organization that is concerned with the database, it could be handled centrally at the one place. All the controls from the central place could be given to all other places or all other entities that exist in the database. So if it is available in the central location in the database, then there could be certain rights that could be given to the below level managers, and we are supposed to maintain a hierarchy in the centralized database system. Next is client server. As the name implies, client is sending his queries, and server is responding to the queries of the client by some measure. Next is parallel distributed system, parallel and distributed system. Parallel, as the name implies, multiple processors could be there, and we are dealing with the multiple processors at the same time. Distributed means to say it is the opposite of centralized. Instead of maintaining the database at one location, it is distributed, like its control is distributed among various departments in the organization, so that they can exchange information with each other, and uh, it could not affect the uh, centralized system in that manner, because in central level the information is not distributed. If we want to make changes, if we want to control, if we want to access anything in the organization, then we have to take permissions from the central authority. So that is why it is called directly central authority. So we are supposed to follow the hierarchy for the same, and we can't have a control over the central manager directly. So in distributed, the control is distributed in various departments, and various departments can exchange information with each other, and in the end it could lead to the hierarchy, and it could be controlled by various managers in between, and various managers could be reporting to the single entity in the database. So this is the overall system structure for the database. What is the same? Just have a look at the same. I am enlarging the picture. So there is a disk storage system, and disk storage is concerned with data, indices, data dictionary is there, and statistical data is there. And over that, storage manager is there who is managing the storage of the database. It could be buffer manager, it could be file manager, it could be authorization and integrity manager, it transaction manager, and above the same there could be a query processor. So what is the function of the query processor? It is concerned with application program and object code, query evaluation engine, next is compiler and linker, next is DML queries, next is DML compiler and organizer, next is DDL interpreter is there. So in the last, that is the user who are using the database. It could be native users like tellers, agents, web users that are using the system actually. Next is application programmers who write the code. Next is query tools that could be making the query. It could be sophisticated users or user analysts. Next is administration tool. That is that role of the database administrator who is handling all the database or who is coordinating all the activities that are happening in the database. So this is the structure that we are going to follow in the database if we are dealing with the activities that are there in the database. And there are certain types of managing storages that are there, like disk storage, storage manager. Above the disk storage there is a storage manager, next is the query processor, and next is the administrator who is handling or controlling the information by various hierarchies that are being followed in the database. You can have a look at the connections here. So these are the data links that are there. So it is in the form of the flow of the information. There could be certain directed arrows, and there are arrows that are without direction, so it means the data is bidirectional. So next is the application architecture. What is the architecture for the database application? So it could be a two tier, it could be a three tier. Two tier was used in the old days, and nowadays three tier is being used. So what is basically two tier and what is basically three tier? In the client and server, both are based on client and server. But what is basically client? It is the user, and user is concerned with the applications. There is a network in between, and we are supposed to get the data from the database. Nowadays it could be a web browser that user application network is there with the help of the web browser who is using the who is concerned with the application. Next is application server is there, next is database system. So this is the three tier architecture. If you want to know details about the architecture of the database system, then we will discuss each and every architecture in detail in the upcoming class, like client server architecture, distributed architecture, centralized system. So all these things will be discussed in detail in the next class. Okay, so this was all about my today's class. If you are having any query regarding same, you can ask me. In addition, there is a reference book that is given, and it is available in the college library, a book by Korth, and you can get it issued from the library and have a look at the same. So there are 10 MCQs that are given for the today's class. Have a look at all the questions. Each question is having four choices, and you are supposed to select any one answer. At the end of the class, you are supposed to submit me the answers on my email. So have a look at all the questions one by one. So this was all about my today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.